and welcome to the Fringe RX podcast. I'm Anna Strong, and I'm on a mission to find a cure for autoimmune. We talk education, healing, support, do's, don'ts, wins, and losses, all to improve our quality of life. Hi guys, welcome. I am so excited today. We have a truly wonderful guest, a creator, an innovator, and one of the 50 top functional medicine doctors in North America. She is the creator of one of the largest integrative medical clinics, and she is the author of 2 books, The Cancer Revolution and Be Perfectly Healthy. I got to tell you, I love that title. She has a personalized approach to patient care that includes prevention, early detection, especially with cancer, internal medicine, autoimmune, thank you, hormone replacement, which is huge, natural hormone replacement, chronic issues, and even aesthetics. Her philosophy is simple. Treat the patient with the disease and not the disease of the patient, the person, the holistic approach. This is the way she is. Please welcome Leigh Erin Connealy.
Good morning. Hello. How are you?
We're good.
Wonderful.
We're doing applause for you. This is my new machine.
Okay, great.
Got a little laughter, a little applause. It takes 8 to 10 years for cancer to really take a hold of you. So you have a lot of time there to prevent. So I would like to know further what your philosophy is on that.
Yeah, so you talked about prevention. We should be preventing not just cancer, but all diseases. Our whole platform in health should be proactive, preventive, personalized medicine. And unfortunately, since the advent of medications in the 30s with penicillin, we've just been prescribing a pill for every ill instead of understanding the root causes and the underlying environment of the patient. And so my personal mission is not just prevention of cancer, because when you have a cancer patient, they're also a patient that may have sugar issues, autoimmune issues, hormonal issues, inflammatory issues, toxicity issues, so many other things, just like any other patient with a chronic illness. What are all the underlying causes that could be contributing to this perfect storm, whether we call it heart disease, cancer, autoimmune, Alzheimer's, etc. So doctors have to, put aside what they have learned and unlearn the things that they learned in medical school, which was pathology of a disease and then pharmacology. So when you see a patient, you need to get a great history. And because the history, I will tell you, I said, the patient has all the answers. They're going to tell you what they have and why they have it. So, and I hear this every single day, but unfortunately, doctors don't talk to patients about fundamental things: lifestyle, what they eat, and their environment. Those 3 top things, that is what is contributing to their diseases. Not what just happened at that moment, but what happened over the last 10 years, maybe 20 years. But early detection and prevention, the cure for cancer is prevention, not treatment of the disease. We know that Nixon declared war in cancer in 1970. Here we are in 2021, and our disease incidence and prevalence, incidence is the number of new cases, and prevalence is only increasing. So we know the paradigm that we've had for the last 50 years is not working. Now the incidence of cancer is 1 in about 2 people, for sure 1 in 2 men, and about 41% of females. And it is the number 1 killer in people 1 to 85 years of age. In children, it is the number 1 cause of death. It used to be accidents, now it's cancer. And it's so sad that we live in 2021 and we are not practicing the preventive measures, the preventive testing, the preventive blood work that we could be assessing in every single patient and prevent their illness. And I have the privilege of seeing, unfortunately, all these in-case diseases, probably 50% are stage 4, and they have done everything. And when I say everything, the conventional treatment is a surgery, a chemo, or a radiation, or some new clinical trial, and sometimes immunotherapy. So unfortunately, though, the doctor, when the patient was diagnosed at the very beginning, did not understand the scope of that patient and change the environment and the terrain. And like you said, cancer takes about 8 years to physically manifest. When I say physically manifest, what does that mean? That means you feel a lump, a bump, you have nausea, you have abdominal pain, you have back pain, you have some pain in your body, and or some discomfort or some irregularity, and you go to your doctor and you hopefully will get an answer, because a lot of people, for example, back pain, if you go in for back pain, oh, you probably pulled a muscle, so take an anti-inflammatory, take a muscle relaxant. Well, it could be stage 4 cancer. So it's the doctor's got to. I always tell my staff, my doctor staff, as I teach them, rule out cancer and work backwards.
There you go.
And the reason the reason why I say that is because cancer is about 1 in 2 people. And
I can't
so
believe that
you're
statistic.
just gonna,
That's huge.
yes.
1 in 2 people.
And over 1,600 people die a day of cancer. Now, we hear the news every single day, and they talk about 5 people here, 10 people, 100 people. But 1,600 people die a day.
A day.
And we are saying nothing, and we have no open community, no open discussion, it's unbelievable. And
How do we
trying.
affect change with that? As far as having a community, being able to actually affect change that needs to be done. I know you're functional and integrative medicine, and it's just starting to get the respect it deserves. And how can we facilitate screaming? This is an epidemic. My ex-husband, God rest his soul, he died of brain cancer, and I watched what that can do. And he fought really hard, and they did latest procedures in the hospitals in Philadelphia. But again, I don't think it was, he got it soon enough, because he had a sore on the bottom of his foot, and people don't know this, but a lot of people get cancer on their feet for some reason, and he let it go for a year, and just thinking I've got things to do and I'm not paying attention to this, and it killed him. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to educate people on, and the doctors too. The doctors need to be educated.
We have to pay attention. Yeah, you're right. We have to pay attention to ourselves and what is going on. A lot of us are not mindful of our self-care and our self-observation, correct? And so you say that because a lot of people let things go. All right, a lot. Okay, and health is not a value in our system. Okay, and health needs to be our number 1 value. And why? Because you can't take care of yourself, so that means you're not a good mother, you're not a good sister, you're not a good cousin, you're not a good employee, you're not a good anything for yourself or anyone else, or more importantly, like you said, the community. And it is our community where we survive and thrive, because everybody can be contributory to the community. But the other problem is the education of the physicians. So the physicians have to unlearn or learn the new medicine. So by the time something is published in a journal, it takes about 17 years to be implemented.
Oh my
17 years. So the things that we're doing now, like I write about it, I speak about it, I teach doctors about this, okay? So it's not like it's a secret. I do all kinds of podcasts, all kinds of awareness, all kinds of everything I can do to enlighten and educate and empower people about this, because cancer, when patients get diagnosed with cancer, it's a death sentence, right? They're in fear and in trepidation. And when they go to the physician usually scares the patient. I hear it every single day. If you don't do something, you're going to die,
Right.
or you may have 6 months to live, or you have, this is really, really serious. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, you're going to die. Well, no one needs to be talked to like that,
No.
because as we all know, fear suppresses our immune system. And so we cannot talk, and our job as physicians is to partner with the patient, because that is how we are going to get them better. We can't be throwing negativity, fear, and well, I don't want to listen to you, because I had a patient yesterday who said, well, the doctor, she goes, it's just so refreshing here because you listen to our questions and you say that you're open to looking at anything. They gave me a paper. If they do this chemo, they should take these supplements. And so she goes, the other doctors, won't listen. Number two, like every doctor pretty much says that what you eat doesn't matter. Well, I've never read a book. And probably there's more books written on food and dieting and eating than there is anything else. But I've never read a book that says, oh, you can just eat whatever you want for whatever, whether it's Alzheimer's, weight loss, autoimmune, or anything. There is no eating plan that just says, oh, you can just eat whatever you want.
Well, not with the selection that we give them. Have a Twinkie.
Right.
Really.
Yes. So. Exactly. No, they always say you can eat whatever you want. And seriously, every single patient reports that to me. Now, these are doctors in ivory towers and very well-respected institutions. So I find a fundamental failure and flaw of our system that we're saying that to a patient, okay? So because there's study after study after study showing that what you eat is probably the number one most single determinant of your health, and we are saying it doesn't matter. So we're giving all this erroneous mixed informations to patients, so they're thoroughly confused and thoroughly derailed in their healthcare plan, because they have the doctor not supporting the patient on all of their platforms. And the body is this incredible miracle. There is no way just a simple surgery, chemo, and radiation is going to reverse this 10-year disease.
Well, the whole thing with how long this has been going on for a cure for cancer, there's been so many times that I've heard on the news or whatever, we have found the cure for cancer, and then we don't hear anything else about it. And it's kind of ironic to me, because is it miscommunication? Are we just wanting to perpetuate a pharmacy kind of rhetoric? And I do know pharmaceuticals, they have their place. They do help, but going backwards to how we used to treat patients, instead of, you get 15 minutes in the office, this is what you have, I see it on your blood test, you take this pill and that's it. Food is huge. That's one of the first things that when I first got diagnosed with an autoimmune, they gave me methotrexate, which is a low form of oral chemotherapy. And the first thing I did was Google it, and it said, oh, your hair is going to fall out and your skin is going to fall off. And I'm going like, I'm not doing this. Seriously, my hair's falling out anyway. So we don't want to do these things. but we want to be able to give people hope. When you first find out that you have a chronic illness and a doctor takes his 15 minutes of time to talk to you, and then it's out the door, you're shell-shocked, and being
That is
told, and
correct.
I have not been told this, but being told that you have 6 months to live is the most negative thing that a doctor can do to anybody psychologically. I mean, that's like kindergarten 101 medicine. It's about attitude, it's about food, it's about everything that we do with our lifestyle. And we got to change the way that most of America is doing this. I know complete, insurance hospitals, I'm not going to say the name, that actually teaches their doctors about new medicine that's coming in, and this is what it's for, and this is how you treat somebody. I don't know why we do this.
Right. Well, like I said, since penicillin was discovered, it was the panacea for infections, and it was like a miracle because infections were, the top leading cause of death. So here we have this great new drug. So that started the pharmaceutical cartel, and so that's where we are now because that's where the money is. All right. And so if you can patent something, and look what percentage of pharmaceuticals are actually made from an isolate of a natural compound. And so, but when we isolate things from a natural compound, we miss all the cofactors. It's just like eating a strawberry and trying to isolate one little piece of the strawberry instead of the entire strawberry with all of its cofactors. So that's why it's so important that we eat a complete rainbow of food, because they have all these phytonutrients in it for us to help us. And so, but if you can isolate one single thing, for example, then you can market it and patent it and market it and make money. And unfortunately, that has been our system. And unfortunately, it's still our system. I'm not saying that some pharmaceuticals are not necessary and important, especially when we have an emergency situation. There is nothing better than American medicine, but people don't realize this, that US ranks 43rd in the world. That means 42 other countries are healthier than ours, and that includes third world countries. So it's better off if you didn't do anything of the system. The second thing is we spend twice as much as any other country. So we're spending twice the amount of money to take care of us and still rank 43rd in the world and still not making progress. And so, and also the third leading cause of death in this country, we have heart disease is number 1, cancer is number 2, and the medical system is number 3.
Ooh.
So we know,
that's a good one.
Yes. Yeah, so we know that what we're doing is not helping us, but the system is, unfortunately, the medical system is 20% of the GDP, and we are not making the proper changes. We have to teach patients how to take care of themselves. I'm always saying that self-care is the new healthcare. Look at all the diseases that there are no medicines for. For example, take autism. Autism, there is no prescribed treatment, okay? Look at dementia, which is the 6th leading cause of death. There is no medicine. For heart disease, there's a lot of medicines, but now we're seeing that those medicines are not contributory to the survivability of patients, whether they do a stent or take a statin. Statins have been around for 20 years. Has heart disease increased or decreased? Of course, it's increased, not to mention the problematic effects of taking a statin drug. Mm-hmm. And so here we are. And then cancer, we haven't made any inroads, okay? Still, all these patients are being diagnosed with cancer. And then the 5-year survival rate is very low. After you do everything, it's about 2.3%. So we know that this system isn't working. We've known for a long time. There are physicians like myself who are trying to help people get their health in order. Okay. And we do it here in our clinic, whether it's cancer or whatever other disease it is. And then we have supportive classes because patients, you cannot learn health in one 15-minute visit, like
No.
you said. So that's why we have supportive materials, supportive classes, all the other. So we really have a patient truly understand the why, where, when, and how of their illness. There is no other way. I always tell people there's nothing simple. There is not a magic bullet. And a lot of patients are conditioned instant gratification. You take a pill and you're going to get better. And we have to get off that. But it's like people who want to lose weight. Just take with losing weight.
Right.
We have now obesity about 50% of the population. What?
I heard 35% in every state. 35%
exactly, but it's approaching
in every state. Obese.
Yeah, so,
and
but
that's
not
fat. That's obese, you know?
Obese, exactly. So it's approaching, they say, by 2030. I believe it's going to be before that. It'll be 50% of the population.
Wow.
Well, why are we not saying stop? Look, listen, let's all together help each other be the best we can be. Why aren't we saying this? Autism's, like on some people's statistics, it's 1 in 40, 1 in 37. But what are we doing not to treat autism, but what are we doing to prevent autism? Look, we've just found out that glyphosate is one of the, causing from the mother down to the child, causing epigenetics, all right, changes in the baby. Well, this makes them predisposed to something, all right? It could be cancer, it could be autism, it could be any number of diseases. And that's just one chemical. We allow over 100,000 chemicals. So every mother should be doing a detox program before they get pregnant. And then when they're pregnant, they need to continue their purification and their good eating, their good mindset, because whatever the mom's thinking, the stress of the mom is translated into the child. And so why aren't we teaching this basic things that don't cost money, really? Because you create community groups where everybody helps each other. And so why this isn't happening? I've been saying we've been in an emergency for a very long time. Years ago, I was ringing the alarm bells about plastics. Okay, that was 25 years ago, because when I had children, I was like a tiger mom about their eating, their sleep, their habits, their, spirituality, every single thing. And plastics, I read about plastics a long time ago, and I went, oh my gosh, we have to get rid of all of this in our house. That was 25 years ago. What has happened to the plastic industry? It's only grown. It's a $15 billion industry. Have they tried to stop it? Yes, but the lawsuits win. So, and it's like, so that means we all have to take charge, but we also have a fiduciary responsibility. I tell people, if you have the knowledge, you have a duty to act and inform. And that's what I try to do. And everyone does.
When you're talking right now, it's like I'm thinking, you know what? You're absolutely right. The only class I ever took when I was growing up was physical education, where you found out about the vagina and the penis and stuff. But there's no class for teaching you the way to actually take care of yourself, and the alarms and the red flags that can happen for you to take notice on something. It's almost like we don't have any classes for parenting either. I mean,
that's correct.
Any stupid Joe can have a baby, and I think there's the egg thing. If you carry around an egg and not break it, that makes you able to have a parent, and it's crazy. But that's the other thing that's broken is our school system for our kids. But I don't know. We're such a cocky country. We go around saying, oh, we're the best medical in the world. Everybody comes to us, and it's BS. We're
right.
behind
Well, people
everybody.
don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people just don't understand that it isn't that good, unfortunately.
I
And
think
if people really knew the statistics, they would not be doing and coming here. But people think because we have the big ivory towers. I mean, I grew up in Texas. It's the largest medical center literally in the world. All right. And when my background is that my mother took a drug with me, and that drug, they found out 16 years later, caused cancer in both male and female offspring, hormonal problems, infertility, anatomical, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I had to go to MD Anderson, which is probably one of the largest cancer institutions in the world. And here it is, this humongous maze of halls of getting help that I had to be checked out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
how old
And
were
so
you?
that was I was only 16.
Oh wow.
And so I was 16, scared to death. I was a teaching hospital, so you have a dozen people coming to the exam room while they're examining you, doing the tissues and the biopsies and all that kind of good thing. And so it was quite a daunting experience. That's why I do what I do today, because I learned from first of all, that finding out about that, and then I
Right.
never had two periods in a row, and then couldn't get pregnant, and then I had pituitary failure when I did have delivered twins, and then that was a 7-year journey figuring out that. And then I had scoliosis from the drug I took. So I had 18 hours of
Holy cow.
surgery 2 years ago. So I have learned through my own health interruptions, our mess always becomes our message. And I've learned through all my personal history, plus seeing patients for 34 years, I've heard many a story and many of journeys.
Well,
And so
that's why you're almost blessed for having all of this happen to you, because it puts you on a
yes.
path that is truly making a difference. And you've seen 47,000 patient. Is that a right number?
Well, it's probably over 50.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
that we just didn't start counting at the beginning. So
Yeah. So
we didn't start counting at the beginning.
and
So
you're out there and you're telling people, hey, we got to fix this system. Hey, this is how we should, treat our patients. They're going to be able to tell us more than we know in our blood tests and everything else. And if we incorporate all this stuff, I'm all about, hey, get a priest in this room. If we got everything, if we're going to just throw everything at something, let's get it all in here, And we got to stop being so pompous and arrogant and saying, hey, we do this, and we know so much, and we're going to give you this medication or whatever. Stop being a little bit too cocky and listen.
well, and closed-minded. Like all the doctors are closed-minded. Why wouldn't we be open to a possible a pathway that may help people? And don't say, "Oh no, those don't matter. That doesn't matter." I mean, why would we say that? Anytime a patient brings something into me, I either know about it, and if I don't know about it, I go, "Let me research this for you before you embark on that," and just to make sure that I think that's a good pathway. But don't denounce the patient. Sometimes the patient's smarter than you.
Yeah,
So
well, they're
don't give
dealing
them
with
the
it every
upper.
day. Yeah, so they're gonna be
Exactly.
doing it.
So
Yeah.
they're going to do exhaustive research and study. Not every patient is going to, but a lot of them, I see them. They bring in notebooks of information. And so they're, like you said, they're dying from it. So they're going to be so passionate and
Hmm.
so, investigative with it, that they may know something. There's no way any human being could know the invincible solutions around the planet. And
Right.
so we should be open but the problem with is the conventional physician, they have no experience with what people should be eating. Number two, more importantly, probably the most important, is how trauma and emotional conflict is probably the biggest root causes of diseases. All right. And there are study after study after study coming out every day, revealing that trauma and emotion is the cause of disease. And if we could just get patients, like that's easy to do. We can work through patients, whether in a group setting or one-on-one. It will be the best thing that any human being, but they've never even addressed that with the patient ever. All right. Then we know we're living in a sea of pollution. Okay. The number one probably cause of death here is pollution, pollution, pollution. All right. And so, but what doctors are telling patients we need to cleanse? No, they're saying, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Well, no, there's no such thing about doing whatever you want. Nothing. You know, it's like we go learn how to drive a car. You talked about there's no handbook on having a child, and I'm very well of that because I'm a mother, and of course I did go read, lots of books and have have a lot of input on that. But there is no handbook on anything. But when you learn how to drive, what is it? There's a class, and then you got to take a test. Because I tell people, if you run stop sign all day, what is going to happen? You're going to get in a crash or a ticket or kill somebody or something tragic. You just can't drive a car and not stop at the stop signs. And I tell patients, you have to apply that same rule to your personal self-care. You can't just stay up at night till 3 o'clock in the morning, not exercise, not eat right, not live your life right, have your mind full of fear and intrepidation and toxic information that's constantly going into when you're listening to news or reading stuff or watching bad movies. There is no way that your body and mind is going to be in order. And
I
so,
think you're absolutely right on this because, I tell people, I think of my body like either a car, a computer. It records things. When you have a traumatic experience, it goes into each and every one of your cells. And it may take, like what you said, 8 to 10 years for it to actually do the damage that it's seeking to do. But negative emotions and negative things that happen to you, they're damaging at the time, and you know it. You feel it. You feel it all over your body, but you don't address it because you're in it. So it's just like that third person needs to come in and say, hey, you're going to get really sick if you keep doing this. And people get told that a lot when they're, have addictions and different lifestyle things. You're gonna wear out. You're gonna die. You keep partying like that. But people don't listen until it hurts. When somebody's jabbing you
it's
with
not
a
that it more
fork,
yeah, it's more than it hurts. It's I find, and because I've been practicing so long, I see what awakens people. And unfortunately, a diagnosis awakens people, not the preventive proactive approach.
Right.
It's they have to hit death's door for some reason, okay? They have to hit death's door. Something serious happens, and that is what awakens people, unfortunately. But that's what we unfortunately taught. We have not taught, we have to teach things when children are born, that we have to teach them how to take self-care, whether it's emotional, spiritual, whether it's the eating, whether it's the movement, or how to take care of yourself in a wilderness, whatever it is. We need to equip them with that. And so that's not what we're doing today. Okay, we aren't.
That's
mothers and fathers. First of all,
things.
we have a lot of fatherless families.
Right.
So if you don't have a father, we know it's not just the mother's important, the father's equally important. But there's an escalating amount of people families who do not have a father in the family. But we need the whole components. We can't just do it piecemeal. But it's also our food availability. Unfortunately, life is about choices. Okay, you can go to the grocery store and you can go around the dead product aisle, or you can go around the periphery, which is usually the produce and the meat counters. And so, unfortunately, there's all these creative products, creative products that have a list of chemicals that you could be
Yeah.
ingesting. Yes, they have really good creative products that are good for you too. So it's just about being educated and mindful. I know on my Instagram, I talk about really, really simple, basic stuff, but people are amazed at the information. I'm like, wow, this is just very simple
Right, right. And you're
information
going like, but
that
it's
I
not
want.
out there for them, you know? And
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, I love the fact that the internet is more than porn now, and you can actually go in and learn about a vast amount of topics. And health. If you're in trouble, you can I call it getting your Google doctor's certificate. You have to spend at least 7 years just Googling stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
no, between like I grew up in the era of Britannica, so in the library, okay. But
oh
now
yeah,
with
the
your
Dewey
little
Decimal.
device, yes, and with your device, you can study all day long. I mean, you don't have enough time to study, okay? If you watch YouTubes and podcasts and all kind of things, the information is out there on any topic you can imagine. So there's
Yes.
no reason that we are not informed and educated, but you got to watch the right things. If you
Right.
watch cats all day, you're not going to learn. You're going to learn about cats. But we got, but you got to put in your brain good information that's going to help you design your journey to that for the best survivability possible.
See,
And
that's the best
so,
advice right there, is that you have control. You really do. You have to take control of your destiny, of your health, and you have to work with your doctor, not just have your doctor tell you what to do, but you have to, take up that staff too, and start treating yourself right. And sometimes that's hard to do, but God damn it, you have to wake up every morning and talk it to. I'm going to have you back on because there's so many things that I want to talk to you about. I know your center is down in Irvine, California. Like I said in the very beginning of the show, it's one of the largest clinics of its kind in North America. Actually, I think it is the largest. And the equipment that you have there is just remarkable. I mean, you talked about autism. You have the oxygen chambers. I know that really helps people with autism. There's such a plethora of things that we can do that unfortunately is not covered by insurance. We'll talk about that another time. But it's information that's out there that people need to know because people are suffering every day and needlessly. They don't have to do that.
needlessly.
They can live it doesn't matter what you've been diagnosed. You can live a joyous and productive life if you handle the situation simply.
Yeah, well, you also have to have the information and
Yeah.
the educational and the support. Okay,
Yeah.
because
You
if you
need
go
you
to a
need you need the
physician
people
that
around you.
doesn't
Yeah.
support, yes,
Absolutely.
that's why you have to surround yourself with a group of counselors, like counselors,
Yeah.
friends. Somebody's good at the spiritual part, someone's good at the good eat part, somebody's good at the exercise, something. That's because they say, the people, you are a sum total of the 5 or 7 people around you, right? So you just get friends that are good at different things and everybody shares their talents.
It takes a village.
Right, right.
So much of the information is so good, and the what you're advocating is exactly my train of thought also. And I think if you, especially with your varied background and your extensive training, and we keep yelling about this, it's going to get done. And I want to have you back on the show. I want to actually get your Instagram information so that we can tell everybody where they can go and actually see your information every day. What is that Instagram?
Yeah, just go to Conealy MD, Connealy MD,
Yeah,
and we'll find everything.
and check out her website too. You can get so much information. The books that you recommend are outstanding, by the way. And
thank you.
The resources on your page are just amazing. And I think, with a collective community effort and people, finally getting sick of being sick, we're going to make a difference. And
Yes, we are.
So I'm very glad that you're helping me do that. And we are out of time. So, I know. So thank you for being
my
here.
pleasure.
And catch us on Facebook. Catch us on, we're doing so many things. Patreon. Join us on Patreon for all the backstories that you won't see on here. And I want you to have a pleasant and wonderful week, and stay strong and golden.